So I'm going to do my makeup and it's like 8 something, yeah, 9:33 actually, and just doing my makeup randomly and talking about different things that have been on my mind. Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have really, but I'm excited to try them, especially like these lash clusters, which I have never used before, and I can't remember the last time I actually did false lashes. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. I wasn't going to beat my whole face because, wait, where's my concealer? I just realized I don't have my concealer. I guess the first thing that's been on my mind is the desire to achieve a certain beauty standard and using that as a hindrance to do anything, or feeling like I don't really have the right to want anything without achieving a certain beauty standard. It's like, and I was hearing and I saw a TikTok about it because I've been thinking about it for a while, but basically she was talking about how like the pursuit of beauty has been used as a hindrance to do things, basically. Like, oh, I'll do this when I'm pretty enough, I'll do this like when I've achieved this certain beauty standard, I'll do this when I've like gotten to this point. And I realized that that has a lot to do with the way I hesitate to do certain things. It's almost like I don't feel like I'm allowed to really exist completely satisfied with myself as a human being until I look a certain way, which is ridiculous because I feel like there will always be room for improvement. But by far the most profound changes that I've made or that I've experienced and gone through in the past few years have had nothing to do with the way that I look, and everything to do with the way that I am and who I am. And I know that, like, I know the most important thing for me is never going to be the way that I look. I know that, like, I have an ideal version of myself right now. Like, I could have my ideal body right now. I could have my ideal features right now. I could have my ideal wardrobe, my ideal hair length, hair. I could have like my ideal jewelry set. I could have like my ideal body modifications, like piercings and stuff, and I would still want something else. You know, there would always still be something that I would want. And so I'm not deceived into thinking that I will ever be 100% satisfied with the way I look, in the sense that I will never, you know, think that, oh, I would be prettier if I had this, right? I am, however, like deceived into thinking that until I reach a level of achieving certain standards, then I don't really have the right to do anything. One thing that's always been consistent for me has always just been my body and I guess my weight. And it's not like I definitely don't hate my body, and I don't have a problem with how much I weigh. I feel like I weigh like a healthy amount for my age, for my height. Oh shoot. But I've always felt like, you know, I would have reached my peak when I look a certain way. And when, actually, no, I don't really care about my weight. Scratch that, like, I don't care. It's about the way my body looks primarily. And it's like, I feel like I would have reached a certain peak or reached a certain level of like self-confidence when my body looks a certain way. And even saying that out loud makes me realize how stupid it is. But it's not something that I don't know is stupid. It's like, it's just still something that I can believe subconsciously, you know? And I didn't realize like how much I was holding myself back from doing, or the things I was holding myself back from wanting, because I don't think I have the ideal body type or the ideal physical appearance or the ideal wardrobe to want those things or to go after those things. I think I'll put it like this. It's like when I think of like my ideal life in like 5 years, you know, where I would be living, the clothes I would be wearing, the opportunities I would have, the job I would be working, the friends I would have, things like that. There's a certain version of myself that's attached to that, and that certain version of myself has a certain physical appearance. And so because I've attached this idea of the way I would look to the things that I want, I feel like I have to look that way to also have those things. Almost like there's no reality where I could possibly look the way I look now, which isn't bad, by the way. Like, I like the way I look now, but the way I look now and also have those things, it feels like it's difficult for my mind to just process that without me trying really hard, because I've attached a certain version of myself to my desired future, which I don't know if it's unhealthy or healthy, and I don't know if it can really be helped. Like, I didn't choose to think that way. Frick. I forgot that my foundation head just coincidentally decided to come off one day, and so I just pulled it off, and I saw like a streak of brown fly somewhere.
Like, oh, no.
Thank God it only got on the mirror, so hopefully I hope I don't find like dried foundation somewhere tomorrow. And like, social media doesn't do anything to help this either, because God forbid like you see someone on your screen who isn't like skinny or light skinned or doesn't have their hair done, doesn't have lashes on, doesn't have their nails done, I mean, doesn't look like they're about to be the front cover of a magazine. Like, God forbid people actually show up looking like themselves. Someone always has something to say about it. And even though that doesn't stop these people, right, from still chasing after their opportunities, it reinforces this idea that somehow there's something wrong with you for going after what you want, regardless of not looking like you should, if that makes sense. And I feel like it's just been such a hindrance to me doing so many things in my life. It results in me overthinking very often. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't think I'm pretty enough to do this. And I've just come to a point where I don't really want to do that. I feel like it's in line with this whole period of revelation I've been having, where it's just like, I'm going to die one day, you know? Like, hopefully when I'm like 80 or something, 85, I really don't want to be here longer than that, but like, I'm going to die someday, and it just feels like, when you put things in perspective like that, it just feels so stupid to be so worried about not looking good enough to do the things you want. Like, I would rather be made fun of. Actually, I don't want to be made fun of at all. Like, I like the idea of internet hate genuinely scares me, but I would rather deal with that than look back, not even at the end of my life, but like in 5 years, and be like, yeah, I wish I had done that. Like, I would rather just try and then it not work out than look back and be like, oh, I wish I had done it. I don't know what would have happened. Like, it would just be so painful. Like, because I already feel that way sometimes, you know? I feel like, why haven't I done some of the things that I want to? Why haven't I achieved some of the things that I want to? I really should not be using this hand to do this, because I pulled a muscle this week, and like, it already hurts now just from doing that. But anyways, it's like already now I think about, oh, why haven't I done this? And some of it has to do with like comparing myself to other people who are around my age, especially when you see people living certain lives online, and it's like, oh, I should have achieved that, you know, there's something wrong with me for not having achieved that and for not having gone after the things I want to go after. That was just a tangent, but yeah, I already feel like that sometimes, and I just can't imagine feeling like that in the next 5 years. Like, I remember just at the beginning of the New Year's, before that, like slightly before that, I had made certain goals for myself, because I just realized, like, I'm so tired of not doing the things I want to do. one really big thing for me is not having like written my book yet. I'm going to do it, and I will hopefully document the process of doing that. But one big thing is not having written my book yet. And I was just thinking about the fact that I've been working on my book for years, the fact that there's other things I've been wanting to do for years that I've never actually like gone to do, like I've never finished it, and I was just getting so tired of it, you know, like just the thought of not having accomplished anything and just being so dissatisfied with where I was in life. And so I made certain goals, and the idea of those goals wasn't for them to be New Year's goals, but for them to be goals that I would keep going after for the rest, for at least for like the foreseeable future. Like I'm saying like 10 years, 5 to 10 years, where these goals would define, you know, what I want to do. For example, like at the end of this year, I don't want to have any New Year's goals. I want to just keep going with the goals that I already have. And why was I saying this in the first place? And it's like, in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, why didn't I achieve those goals? Why didn't I go after them seriously like the way I said I would? It's like I would rather deal with ridicule for trying in the first place, and I would rather try in the first place than be disappointed in myself for not trying at all, you know? Because I can't really control the way things go. Like, I'm not in control of every aspect of my life. I'm not in control of every facet of any of the goals that I try to achieve. Like, I can post here like every single day, which I will not be doing, but I could post here every single day, and at the end of the day, I don't control who views my content, who engages with it, who wants to follow me. But what I am, like what I do, is absolutely within my control, and what I can control, I should, you know, and I should make the right decision in the moment when I can, and the right decision is to try, you know. I say you know a lot, so get used to it. I would always rather be disappointed in a situation than in the way I handled it, in what I chose to do. I would rather be disappointed in the opportunities that I may not have gotten in my life than be disappointed in myself for not having chased after those opportunities. And another thing is, nobody actually cares. Nobody really cares what I'm doing or like what I'm trying to do, and that's okay, you know. And when I say nobody cares, like I don't mean I don't think anybody cares about whether I make content or not. Like I know I have people who do, and I love them, but like I just feel like I'm overthinking it, and I often overthink things, and I'm expecting like the whole world to stop and judge me viciously if I try to do something slightly out of my comfort zone. And it's like, no, nobody really cares. Like, it's okay, you can try, and if it doesn't work out, fine, but like at the same time, what if it does, you know? It's like I genuinely don't have anything to lose. I need a job. Random tangent. I say that phrase like 6 times a day. I need a job. I need a job. I don't know which color to pick. My first instinct is to pick pink because that is my favorite color, but I don't want to do that because I feel like that's too within my comfort zone. I'm just going to start with pink, and then we'll see how things develop from there. But even just speaking on beauty standards and talking about how it feels like you always have to be made up and you always have to look a certain way, like I never realized how unrealistic and unattainable a lot of those beauty standards are, especially for someone who's a college student and or university, but I use the terms interchangeably because I don't really know the difference. But it's like I have to buy school supplies, especially as an art student. I have to buy something for a project pretty regularly. I have groceries to pay for. I have laundry to do. Like, I have a bunch of things to pay for. Like, I can't afford to get my hair and my nails and my eyelashes done every week. That's ridiculous. I can't, like, a $200 haul of clothing every month. And it just took me a minute to realize, it just took me to realize, because this one day I was thinking about how I've had the same clothes for a while. Mind you, when I say the same clothes, I mean clothes I bought newly. And when I say a while, I mean like 6 months, maybe, no, not up to 6 months. That's crazy. It hasn't even been up to 6 months. And I just remember thinking about how, I've had the same clothes for a while now. I haven't really bought anything new. I haven't bought anything stylish. And granted, like, I have an ideal sense of style in my head. In my head, I'm a fashion icon. Like, I oh my goodness, I know how to dress in my mind, right? But like, I don't really have access to that type of clothing, especially if I want to get that type of clothing ethically, because I stopped buying fast fashion a while ago. And the clothing pieces that I want, primarily like really beautiful embroidered stuff, like bead embroidery, that stuff is expensive, and rightfully so, because it's stunning and it takes so much physical labor to do, which is one of the reasons why I started learning embroidery myself, which I haven't really been consistent with, but it's one of the reasons why I started learning embroidery myself, so that I could, make clothes like that myself. And the only way to get access to those clothes ethically is to spend like hundreds of dollars, and I'm talking about for like one clothing piece. And when I think of the fact that like I feel this pressure to already dress the way I want to and look a certain way in my head, it's just ridiculous, it's unrealistic, and it's not something I should want to do because I'm not supposed to. I am a university student. I don't even have a job. Even if I did have a job, it wouldn't be financially responsible for me to spend hundreds of dollars on clothing each month. That's with a job. I don't have a job right now, and I'm grateful, that my parents like take care of like my expenses for the most part and stuff, but that doesn't mean that I can still spend irresponsibly. This does not count, okay? Is the tag still on here? This is $8. Look, that's different, okay? But the point is that that sort of lifestyle that I expect myself to live is unrealistic. And the reason why we see a lot of that usually, just like idolize so much, especially on social media, is because people don't put forward when they're wearing their pajamas all the time. Like, you see some content like that, but let's be real, like, people don't glorify just looking the way you probably look 90% of the time. It's the 10% that matters. It's when you just got a clothing haul. I don't feel like they look exactly the same, and that bugs me a little bit, but it's okay, because I think I'll do blue or purple or orange. Nah, not orange. My foundation is already orange. Oh, green, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. There's this Pinterest look that was really popular, I think it still is, that I tried recreating a few months ago on my cousin, who was my model at the time, and it was made by Painted by Esther. Just putting some green up here on my brow bone reminds me of that, because that was one of the key features of the look, and it was so stunning. Bro, Painted by Esther is so talented. She's so freaking talented. Let's assume that I decide to take this makeup artist thing very seriously, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to like lock in. Oh shoot, I almost spilled my foundation. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to like do makeup on a bunch of models, build my portfolio, get like really high-end clients, do makeup for like models for magazines and stuff. That woman, Painted by Esther, is who I want to be. But like her, I like a nice little mix of her and Pat McGrath. That's all I want. That's, you know what, I should include them in my vision board, because I will be making a vision board. Stunning work, and I can never figure out how she does it. And the thing about it is like, it's such art. Like, I can't even like explain it to you. I feel like I wouldn't even have been able to appreciate it the way I do now, like the makeup that she does, without start doing makeup myself, and especially doing the type of makeup I do, because like when you're doing, you know, editorial makeup, avant-garde makeup, you have to improvise often. Like you're mixing different things together, you're mixing different things to get a certain shade or texture, you're using different products to get products to look a certain way. Like there's a lot of problem solving that's involved. I'm fangirling. I literally cannot wrap my brain around it. And yes, the product she uses absolutely has something to do with the way that her makeup comes out, but I guarantee you, like, the products are maximum 50% of the work, and 50%, probably honestly 75%, is her creativity. Because like just looking at her work inspires me so much, to be honest. I just love her work so much. So anyways, I guess we're doing this green eyeshadow on my brow bone in honor of her. The issue that I'm having is I feel like it's looking kind of like, it doesn't look as, it looks more gray than green, and I do want it to have like a nice light pastel color, but I don't know. This ring light is giving me a headache. Another thing I've been thinking really hard about is not the erasure of dark-skinned women, because it's not like, and when I say dark skin, I don't mean like my skin tone. I always think about my physical appearance relative to Black women. So when I think of my skin tone, honestly, in my head, I think of my skin tone as mid-tone. But so when I say like dark skin women, I'm talking about like really dark, rich onyx skin, like just beautiful melanated skin, like deeply melanated, you know. And I'm just thinking about, like, I've just been thinking about the lack of representation and the lack of willingness to even acknowledge the representation that there is just on social media and in media, period. Like, not to even speak of the whole thing where in some TV shows sometimes you see two Black people, fully Black people, who somehow produce a biracial child, or someone who in a particular story is supposed to be dark-skinned, but in the live action adaptation the actress playing her is not very dark-skinned. Things like that. It's just like it just never ceases to amaze me and also confuse me. And it's like I see it in many different areas. It's not just in media and like TV. I also see it on like TikTok. Like, I don't know if you've ever gotten those weird TikToks where it's like, you know, pick a character, like pick a love interest, pick a setting, pick a theme, and it'll be like a photo TikTok. It would be like a photo slide TikTok, and on each slide under it you have like 4 different options. And oftentimes when I see option to pick a love interest, when it involves not just Black women but also where it involves women and men, I say lots of the time that there are never any really dark skinned women. Like, there are never any really dark skinned women. It's like the whole premise of that type of content is romanticization, and for some reason you, as the person who created this content, don't think that really, really, really dark-skinned women are to be romanticized. Like, and this goes for dark-skinned men too, right? It's like you don't think that really, really dark-skinned people are to be romanticized. Like, even sometimes where I see like videos of like Black hair appreciation, Black skin appreciation, there tends to be this erasure and this lack of acknowledgement for, firstly, 4C hair. And I'm talking about really tightly defined, coiled 4C hair, and really, 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 really dark-skinned people. It's like they're not the ideal, which is so utterly like ridiculous to me. Like, it's so ridiculous. it's jarring. You see it in like the way, bro, I'm going to take a minute to stop doing my makeup for this, because it never ceases to amaze me. You see it in the way like makeup brands, cosmetic brands make products, and how they could make it for dark skin. Like, it's not like it's even harder for them. They could include people with dark skin when making their products, but they choose not to. They choose not to. And when they do, they get praised so much for doing it in the first place. It's not like, that's literally the bare minimum. People are clapping for you for not discriminating against a whole group of people. I feel like I can never talk about this without getting agitated. It gets me so angry, especially when it's such a lie that dark-skinned people are inherently ugly because of their dark skin. And it's like, we wonder, oh, why do people think like this? Why do we think like this? And we forget that we exist within context, and because as human beings we have short memories, we forget how recent things are. Segregation and racism are very recent. Colonialism is very recent. The Atlantic slave trade is very recent. We just don't live for hundreds of years, so history that happened hundreds of years ago seems like a really long time ago. It really wasn't that long ago. And when you consider that even in somewhere like Nigeria, there is such, like, the texturism and the colorism is so profound. I see a lot of the time when someone wants to highlight or talk about these issues, sometimes they ask, oh, why is it, sometimes they ask like, oh, why do we have this, and like, why can't we just let go of texturism? It's kind of like the way we ask, why can't we let go of tribalism, which is something I don't want to speak on until I've done more research. But the truth is that we exist within context. We have texturism in Nigeria with hair because of colonialism. We have what's it called? We have colorism in Nigeria because of colonialism. For example, like, one of the things that we had to, segregation was a big thing in Nigeria, right? Because at a point in time there was a reasonable sized British population in Nigeria, because Nigeria was a British colony, right? And when churches were built in certain areas, you had churches that the white folks could go to, and then you had churches that the black folks could go to. You had places the white folks could go to, and you had places the black folk couldn't go to. There was very much segregation within Nigeria, on Nigerian soil. And that has trickled down, like, into the way that we have beauty standards in Nigeria, and even within the global black community, and in the context of other races and other groups. It's like the beauty standard being lighter, right? And just having to do with, you know, having more European features, closer European features, having looser curled hair, having lighter skin, you know, things like that, having lighter eyes. It's all a result of colonialism and racism and slavery. Like, it's all a result of that. And I know it's like, oh, but it's not that deep, but it is that deep. Like, it will always be that deep because we exist in context. And the worst part about it is that, especially in Nigeria, and I can't speak for everywhere in the world because I'm not from everywhere in the world, but like, especially in Nigeria, we haven't been taught to learn our history. The little that I know about my history, I had to go out of my way to learn. I did not learn about my history in school. You don't see a lot of government aided efforts to teach young Nigerians about their history. And so you have a lot of things that we experience today within Nigeria that are results of things that happened in the past, again because we exist within context. But we're baffled at the way things are, and we don't understand why they are the way they are and how the past affects the way things are right now, because we don't learn about our history. And when we don't learn about our history, and when we don't learn about why things are the way they are, there is no way we will ever be able to solve those things. And I'm like kind of jumping all over the place, but ultimately, like, just bringing it back to like the lack of acknowledgement for dark-skinned people within media, within social media. It's the effort to perpetuate this lie that dark-skinned people aren't beautiful. And I say it's an effort to perpetuate a lie because everybody likes dark-skinned features on lighter skin. I was saying something And then my iPhone storage got full, and so that was the end of whatever I was saying at that moment. And honestly, I can't remember for the life of me what I was saying. I think I was just really dragging out the whole point about colorism and texturism and the importance of history and whatnot. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. But overall, all of that to say that everything is absolutely deep, and I stand by that. Like, I hate having conversations with people and they're like, oh, but it's not that deep. But you clearly don't understand the significance of history in our everyday lives. I'm talking like everyday lives. Like, you clearly don't understand how something that happened a few hundred years ago affects you directly today. You know, it's all for a reason. We all exist within context. I say that at least a couple of times a week. Like, I'll go through something or I'll see something, I'll be like, yeah, that is a result of colonialism. And it'll be the most mundane thing. It'll be like a comment someone made on a video, and I'll be like, yep, that's because of racial segregation. Like, that's why you said that. First product that we're trying, that's barely black. iPhone storage and I, what will I say about us? Constantly running out. I don't want to do too much with my foundation. Do I? I don't know. I love the way this product smells. This curve case, spectacular. Easily like one of the best birthday gifts I've ever gotten in my life. I hate that Apple keeps trying to convince me to buy more storage when I don't need it, because tell me why. Like, I deleted a bunch of stuff before making this. I even deleted some more stuff while making it, and then it still stops the video talking about, oh yeah, you need to clear some space. But then I go to check my storage. I have like over 10 gig of space left. Like, I can absolutely still film. It's just so annoying. My face feels really dry. So we are going to try out another product on the list. What list? I don't know. I've seen people use it like before you put the mascara on your actual lashes, and I was just like, oh, why not? I think I tore the instructions. While we're waiting for the primer to dry, which is what I think I'm supposed to do, I want to add a little something. My lips are so dry, but I don't want to moisturize them because I will be lining them soon. Yeah, the primer does make a little bit of a difference. A little bit. Hey, just missed the entire bottle. Smudged mascara all over my hand. Anyways, so my bottom lashes look insane. I'm just going to get the lash glue. Girl, my tweezers. Does this? How am I supposed to? Was I scammed? Was I scammed? Because what the hell? How do I get the product out? How? What sort of design is this? Why? I'm genuinely in awe. Whatever. There is adhesive on the lashes themselves. I just thought it would be a good idea to use some glue with it, but we will see regardless. so that is all. I like the makeup. I like to yap session. Thank you for staying to the end of this. If you did stay to the end of this, and I don't know. Bye.